Welcome
Thank you
again,
so much.
Mr. Devan Partha.
Thank you so much.
Wow, I'm excited. Oh, I can stop smiling now. Okay, you know what? Before I met you, I don't know if I said it that day. I was busy watching this documentary series on Netflix.
Yes.
How to Change Your Mind.
Oh, yes, I've heard of that.
I don't know, maybe it's just the universe. I don't know how it works, but for reals, I had questions, obviously, but I was curious about a lot of things that they talked about, and if maybe South Africans or African people understand about these things. But then I met you, and to me it was a blessing. And now today we're here. I'm not going to introduce you. I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself. Before I ask any questions, you can go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Devan Partha, and the topic we're talking about is psychedelics, I see, because on How to Change Your Mind it was mostly based on psychedelics and how it's beneficial for us as humans.
Yeah, it was about psychedelics, of which it was my first time even hearing about that.
So you see, it's like in like our culture in society and stuff, like we've been taught that all of these are bad, they're drugs and they're bad for us and stuff. And I mean, for me, I come from alcohol addiction and depression, and I was introduced to it by an article, which was magic mushrooms. They called it Psilocybin. And when I ventured on it, first time it was 5 grams, and I've sat in my lounge.
Wow.
And all the lights off, close the blinds, alone, and 5 grams, and I sat there, and all the fears just started coming up, and I put the lights on, and then I'm like, wow, look at all these colors, it's so amazing. It was too much fear, and I said, that's not helping me. But then 3 weeks later, I took 10 grams. I know, I was like, people say it's crazy, but 10 grams.
Of the mushrooms.
So generally, 5 grams is a lot. For some people, 2 grams can be a lot. But I was drinking a bottle of whiskey every day and depressed. And, it's like how they say, you find wealth and you'll be happy. Not true. You can have all the wealth, but happiness is created inside here.
Yeah.
And to cut it short, in there, it's from my discoveries, I found that everyone's problem is that we have unresolved memories with emotions attached to it.
So it's like we have storage somewhere that we keep these memories.
Yes.
that are bad or bad for us.
It affects our present and future. So, for example, in psychology, they have Sigmund Freud has come up with this fight or flight. I don't know if you've heard of it. So, a situation happens, for example, there's a traumatic event at your house when you were 6 years old.
Oh.
And now, instead of acknowledging that this experience occurred, we tend to go and maybe watch some TV, eat some ice cream, or whatever it is. So we're sort of avoiding the experience instead of going into it, sitting with it, and making peace with it. So we put it in a box, and that box gets full, and it starts causing us anxiety, depression, and various other disorders as well. Okay,
you know what? Before we continue, you wrote a book.
Yes.
And you said it's the title is Basic
Guide to Enlightenment.
Enlightenment.
That's correct.
Okay, what is enlightenment?
I knew you were going to ask that question. But if you Google enlightenment, you'll find various different definitions for it. So my understanding of enlightenment is consciousness, being conscious, being aware of the thoughts that's occurring within your mind. And there's a quote that I received now the other day on Facebook, and it said, "You are not your mind, you are not your body." So if you're not your mind and you're not your body, then
What are you?
You are, I believe, the spirit that is within you.
Oh.
So as a spirit within you, and now you know you're not your mind, and you know you're not your body, so you know that there are other spiritual energies that's in you as well. So enlightenment is being aware of who you are within this body, and also being able to manage it efficiently as well.
So now it's just me and you, body to body, but then there's a spirit inside of us, which is the real
you. Yes.
Wow. So then, knowing that, being conscious of that, how does it help?
So, you know, like all of those habits that we form and all of those dependencies, that's because there's a lack of management within you. So it's mostly, I believe that our mind sort of creates fearful situations for us and making us overwhelmed, and we just don't select anything. So the mind sort of offers you suggestions. So if the body is hungry, that's the example, if the body is hungry, then you start getting these rumbling noises in your tummy, you start feeling hunger pains, but you are not creating that, which is another example of you not the body. So you're not creating it. The body then sends a signal to the mind then creates suggestions. Let's go to KFC, let's go to Burger King, let's go to McDonald's. You, the spirit, then goes and says, okay, listen, let's look at McDonald's. So now the mind, by you putting focus on McDonald's, the mind then expands that suggestion.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, okay. That's why you say the power of the mind.
Yes.
It's so deep, you know, because now, if I'm correct, you say it's like a computer.
That is correct.
Whatever you put in, like there's an input and there's an output.
Yes.
So you sort of somehow you need to be able to delete and you know, sort of arrange whatever that is happening there.
That is correct.
Ooh.
So I have a practice that I do, like, and this is like every day. So I go to work. So from the time that I'm at work till the time I get home, there is a lot of things that occur. So there might be arguments, there might be me having to maybe tell my staff, listen, you're not doing this right, and maybe there was the way I said it was offensive or demeaning possibility, and I didn't realize this because life is so busy.
Yeah.
So when I go home, before I start anything, then I sit down and I close my eyes and I start going through all the events that occurred within the day.
What?
Yeah, and it's like, this is the first thing I do when I get home. So go through all those events and I'll say, okay, listen, but in this, for example, in this podcast, I said something to you and I feel a little bit bad about it now. So that's an unresolved experience with an emotion attached to it. So maybe I said something to you that was offensive, and I realize this now while I'm sitting at home, and then I'm like, oh no, I said that. So I'm going to phone you, and I'm going to tell you, listen, this is what I said, and I'm really sorry, because otherwise I'm banking that, because the next day I'm not going to remember. It's just going to be stored within this computer, and the guilt of it might affect me in the present and future.
So, if I'm getting you correct, the negative things that we say, that we sort of input in our brains, are the causes that make us, you know.
That's correct.
Okay, so now we have to try by all means to sort of forgive and forget.
That is exactly what it is. I'll tell you another example. I was like, this was 2017 or 2018. And I'm lying in bed, and while I'm lying in bed, I couldn't sleep, but I'm feeling this intense pain in my chest, and my tummy's not feeling the greatest. And I'm thinking, okay, what is this? I know anything that's occurring within my body, there's a reason why it's occurring.
Yeah.
So I go to my lounge, I close my eyes, and I'm like, okay, what's happening? And I start focusing on this pain, which we don't want to focus on usually. We want to avoid the pain.
I go by Panado.
There we go. So it's like taking out. I always just tell my son this: you take the easy way, it gets harder. Take the hard way, it gets easier.
Wow.
So I sat there and I'm like sitting and focusing on this pain area, and first thoughts that pops in my head: I got work tomorrow. I can't waste my time on this. And I'm like, no, but this is affecting me, so this is important. I need to focus on this. And when I was 7, there was a girl in my school, and she was always nice to me. And the so-called cool kids were teasing her. So they were like, her name was Vida, and they would tap her and they would say, Vida germs, no returns. And they would play tag with the germs.
Ooh.
And I'm now here as an adult, and I'm remembering this memory, which I couldn't fully remember from. I would never remember it in a normal case, but it was affecting my body. And I remembered this, and at the moment when I remembered it, I could remember that before I tagged her as well and played tag with the germs, there was a point in my mind where I said, this is wrong, I shouldn't be doing this. And then another rationale which my mind came up with to say, but everyone else is doing it, so I should be doing it. And then I'll be part of the cool kids. And she's crying, and I tapped her and I played tag with her. The minute I realized it, I felt angry with myself, I felt shame, I felt guilty, and it was a lot of emotions that was just, and I'm like, this is what's affecting me. So I found her on Facebook.
Wow.
And then I sent her a message on Facebook, and she said, wow, I see you've grown a lot, and I accept your apology. And that was like one of the best moments ever.
So pretty much this is about you knowing who you are, because she's like, oh no, now you are grown.
Yes.
So you know that, okay, this is wrong, or this was wrong, and I wasn't supposed to do it because other people are doing it. And we tend to do that, just because now people are drinking from one to whatever, then we must also do that. Everything that is sort of a trend, we follow, of which we just lose the people that we are, the souls that we are, the good people that we are. And it's, wow. So, okay, now I want us to go to the beginning of your journey, because reading your book, things went easy. You had to go through a process to really understand that, you know what, in life you just don't just go by.
Yes.
You did mention about the article about the psychedelics. Yes. So you started your journey. I just want to know more about that.
Yes, so while I'm now on mushrooms, I'll tell you the experience that we're on 10 grams. So I'm sitting in the lounge on 10 grams, and my eyes are closed. It's pitch dark in the lounge. And while I'm sitting there, in my mind, this shadow is moving closer in my mind. I could feel my heart was like, it was pumping.
While your eyes are closed?
My eyes are closed.
Wow.
And I could feel it was very scary, and the shadows coming closer and closer, and it was along with the thoughts of my soul's going to get lost, it's going to get possessed, all of these things. And I just said, I don't care, but I'm unhappy, and I need to know why I'm unhappy, and I'm going to sit here and I'm not going to move till I know why I'm unhappy. And as I said that, I just kept sitting there, and then I could feel like a hand on my shoulder, and I started shaking a little, and my heart was still pumping, and at the same time, this sort of shadows coming closer in my mind. And I said, I'm not moving, I'm just sitting there. And I sat, and as the shadow came closer, it just turned into this video clip of when I was 4. I remembered the experience, but I never ever thought about it again. After the experience occurred, I just was sort of blocked in that back there. And then I'm like, this is it. This is all the things that's making me unhappy is myself. So I was making me unhappy all of this time. And it was from not dealing with the experiences that occurred up until the current age, which was about, I think I was 34.
Wow.
33 or 34. And then I had all of this. And I just started unlocking and like letting them all out. So I didn't know that like you have to deal with them all. I thought you just I acknowledge them and it's all gone.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work like that. You have to sit with them and you have to actually work through each one and go through each experience and accept it and let it go and forgive those that hurt you, forgive yourself for carrying the information. That's so important, like forgiving yourself. I mean, it's easy to forgive others.
Yeah.
But when it comes to ourselves, we tend to not
be very harsh sometimes.
Yes, and then I sat at the end with all of these memories. That's just like all the things I've done in my life. And I remember I sat in this room. So I was brought up in Hinduism, and I sat in this room and crossed my legs, and my eyes was closed, and all of this information is now here, and I felt like I was going crazy. And then I remember one of our gods, Shiva, appeared in my mind.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's like pointing at me. I should not say anything. There's no communication, no words or anything, but pointing at me like this, and I'm this little man by his shoe, and he's like giant Shiva pointing at me, and it was telling me all the things that I did wrong in my life. And then I said, no, this is not God, because God is not going to sit and judge me and point at me and tell me all the things that I've done in my life.
Yeah.
God is going to probably, if God had to come to me, God would have said, listen, this is how you correct all of these things, not like sort of point and ridicule me. And then I realized that that's my mind creating fear. So it's like, to put me back in a box, sort of, in a corner.
And also denying.
Yes. So it's rather deep and buried rather than explore through it.
Wow. I don't know how it can be so easy for us as human beings to understand that our brains are very powerful.
Yes.
And we can't just say, no, it's just in my mind. It's just a feeling. It's just, we really have to mean the things that we say.
That is correct.
Every time when we wake up, this is a new day, what to do, where to go, what am I getting today? And like you said, now you come back from work, you sit down and, sort of say, okay, this is what I did wrong. And we just get so busy. I don't want to lie. We get so busy and forget about ourselves, which is painful. Because now you say your memories can affect the present.
Yes.
Imagine now whatever that happened to me back in Eastern Cape.
Yes.
I don't know anything about it, and I'm busy here hustling up and down, and I'm not happy.
Yes.
And I don't know why. You say we end up buying all these fancy things, if I can put it like that, or materialistic things, just to ease out the pain.
Fill the void of unhappiness.
Yeah. And we do that.
Yes.
Without realizing that we need to go deeper.
Yes. And it's so important for us. And I thought, this is a simple exercise. I mean, even if you don't have time, you can make time for this. It's like taking 5 minutes a day. And this is like to condition your mind. So all you want is silence in there. So, because if you notice, it's easy to have thoughts flowing, but it's hard to stop thoughts from flowing. So you do this I say first thing in the morning when you wake up, because that's where it's easy for your mind to actually accept it. When it's too busy and too many things, then it becomes a little bit more challenging. And first thing in the morning, it's quiet.
Yeah.
So if you wake up, I wake up at about 5, sometimes I'll go to 4. And that time it's nice and quiet, and I just sit there and close my eyes and I just focus on my breath. So the exercise is just following your breath in and following your breath out. And the purpose of the exercise is that when you want silence in your mind, you can create it on your own.
So that's like meditate.
That's meditation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we go there, I really want, let's just continue with the steps, because for me, when I read them, I was like, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna start. Because you say you must focus, like you say now. I'm like, focus. And you actually say, if there's a picture coming, then you need to focus on your breath.
That's correct.
I'm like, how?
So you see, because of now this is a new condition. So you want to recondition your mind. So your mind is like already saying, okay, at this time we're sleeping. Now you come and you want to change the routine to at this time we're meditating. So there's going to be a little bit of a war at first. The first 2 to 3 weeks, it's going to be intense. Your body is going to react, your mind is going to react. It's the same like if you, here's a test, we don't even know this, but sugar, for example, just stop having sugar. So everything that has sugar in, cut it out, and just look at the reaction that occurs from your mind and from your body. Your mind's going to start convincing you as to why you need sugar. At night, your body's going to start reacting as to say you're getting sick because you're not having sugar. So these are all the thoughts, so just so that you can go back to having the sugar. So, but if you know something is good for you, like meditating, for example, and understanding what's in your mind, you're going to be disciplined and persistent. And through the consistency, you'll find that the mind's just going to start saying, okay, I accept it. The body's going to say, okay, I accept this.
That is so powerful. Me, when I started chewing, I was like, oh my God, no. I have to stop this. This is painful.
Yes. It's the same process.
Yeah.
Meditation, same thing.
Wow. And then you say number 2, admission.
Yes, so when I wrote that book, I didn't mean, I guess, in steps like that.
Oh.
So when you all the steps, your mind finds it too overwhelming. It's like, wow, this is a lot of work that I have to do. And then it just sort of says, I'm actually better off just like this. And it will convince you till you find, okay, listen, it's like a cycle. So you'll say, something's wrong with me. I have to change. I have to exercise. I have to change my diet.
Okay.
You'll go on a period of maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever it is. And then you'll come to a point you'll be like, I'm fine now. And then you'll go back into that old way and until it repeats back on the cycle.
Yeah.
So your mind's going to continuously challenge you and fight with you. So you have to be disciplined and say, no, this is what we're doing, and keep persistent with it. And the more persistent you are, the more likely it's gonna. So basically, taking charge of the ship. You're the captain, and you have to take charge of the ship.
So you pretty much not saying, okay,
don't
guys,
look at all. Just look at step 1.
Oh, okay.
So once you've got step 1 under wraps and you feel uncomfortable with step 1, move to step 2. Once you got step 2 all comfortable with it, move to step 3. But you don't want to look at all the steps all in one. It's the same like for older people, I say, because like when meditating and things, all it is just like getting to a point where you can access files that you need to attend to. But when you do it, when your mind's too busy, your mind just says, no, look at this. And we get distracted and you just forget what you were thinking about. Yeah. So it's another practice that I told a man when I stayed on that farm that I wrote about in the book. So I met this man and he's about 66 years old with 66 years, probably 60 years or 60 years worth of baggage that he's carrying. Yeah. So the 66-year-old, so I'm sitting there making a fire and then I end up going and talking to them. Him and his wife, they invited me over to have some supper with them. And then I'm talking to him and then he tells me about all of his long line of things and he says he's so sad and all of these things. Yeah. So I said, for you it's like just on one page. So you take a page and you write one thing that is causing you uncomfortability or unhappiness in your life, and that would be maybe a broken connection between a parent or whatever it is, anything else, just this one bit of information.
Okay.
And to make yourself aware about this information, you can take a rock, uncomfortable rock that can fit in your pocket, and you keep it in your pocket every day, because this rock is a representation of that experience that you need to attend to. So it's like a constant reminder. It's this uncomfortable feeling in your pocket, and it's like a constant reminder, I need to attend to this because it's still lying here.
And then when you're done,
you can drop the rock.
And move on to the next
and you can get the next rock.
Wow. This is genius levels on, like, this is very intelligent. I mean, I don't know how, most of us South Africans, because if I can put it out there, we really ignore things. Like, I don't know. For instance, now, like I said, coming from Eastern Cape, you're coming to Cape Town, you're already thinking that you're a new person. You should do things differently. You should actually do what Cape Townians are doing. You actually forget everything. And wow. But it's very deep. It's very deep. So you say each person must be able to go deep into themselves. This thing it's coming from inside.
Yes.
Learn yourself and be able to get your what is this? Your enlightenment. Yeah, I can put it like that. Do you get it though, or it?
Look, I waking up happy every day is a choice.
Okay.
We can allow the things to. There's always going to be stresses in life, and our body is like a house. So you can buy a house and you can have this house, but the house is always going to need maintenance, painting, leaking taps. Life is a continuous journey. That's what's called life. So you're going to have to continuously attend to things that's occurring within.
Oh, okay.
But when you start learning to love yourself, which is the major issue, it's that lack of love.
Mm-hmm.
That when you start starting to love yourself and accept yourself, despite like all of the negative attributes that are thrown your way, comments, disapproval, rejection, hate, or whatever it was from others. So when you say, hey, listen, I love myself, I accept myself for who I am, and I'm not going to change who I am. If it's not affecting anyone else, I should just be me.
Yeah.
And then you can commit more. But if you can't find yourself to commit, then that's the first sign of you need to focus on why there's a lack of love.
Wow. So it's love and it's peace, because I think you did talk about peace.
Yeah.
So I want to reference yesterday. Sean was here. He talked about peace. What is this? The sound mind.
Yes.
So I think it also goes with what you're talking about now, like loving yourself and be at peace. Because if you don't love yourself, then you really always have war with yourself. Because now you don't see that you are this beautiful, intelligent, and confident person, and you can do amazing things. It's quite tricky these days because there's a lot of competition, and I wouldn't say it's because people don't know themselves, but the pressure. Because we don't know not much about the skills that we have, but it also the talents that we have as people. And you're like, oh no, I don't think I'm good enough because so and so can do it better, but I would like to do it like they do it, but I can't. So it's kind of frustrating though, but I hear you. We didn't really talk much about how you grew up and stuff. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
I'm comfortable. I think I feel like if you've gone through all of the experience and you accept it and you deal with it, then you can comfortably speak about whatever it is that you do.
Because I don't want you to. Okay, maybe I can ask you this question when it comes to the psychedelics. Because obviously people say they're drugs but they're plants.
The fungus that goes out in forests, like normal mushrooms. The only thing this has it's the psilocybin in it, and that's the active ingredient that makes you hallucinate as well. But like my experience on mushrooms without using for developmental purposes. So your attention to detail is heightened. So if you like look at grass, for example, you notice that your focus to just on one strain of grass is heightened. So if you close your eyes, all that focus is on your mind as to why, and it just starts working on you, and also being proven as a natural antidepressant.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're using this in, I think it's America at this moment. I stand to be corrected, but I'm sure it's America that's using this for depression.
So now they don't give you these antidepressants and these pills if I'm correct, for you to just drink them forever. They want you to work on yourself now, because this sounds like this sounds like work.
Yeah, that is work. It's actually worth the effort, because look at this, we wake up every morning. We wake up some of us wake up at 6-5 to go to work, and so that they can survive, but actually going to work for money. So the action of showing that they can go to work for money is showing that money is more important than them. It's why can't they wake up earlier and do an exercise routine, find out what's bothering them. It's way more important, because if you find that you need to work and so you don't have time for this, you're limiting the time that you have available to acquire funds.
Wow. Life. Oh, life. I always say life is beautiful. I love life. I love being alive. But I think knowing what I know now, I'm not going to ignore working.
Keep going. Keep going.
So you would say, people can try mushrooms.
Yes. Look, if you take it in high doses, like 10 grams, 5 upwards, so anything 5 upwards is for spiritual journeys. Everything 5 under is more recreational.
More recreational,
It's like they do it at parties. I don't specifically agree with that. I mean, to each their own. But it's so sacred and it's so beneficial to us that if you use it in the right environment, in a quiet environment where your senses are limited, especially sight and sound, you'll notice that a lot of things will come up that you never thought about. There will be crying, there will be a little bit of money, but at the end of it, it's you start feeling a lot better, and you start working on those things because you know that they're bothering you.
So when you use it, let's say that 5 gram, does it go 2 hours at least?
It's about 6.5 hours. So it looks I've done journeys with others as well. Where I saw, there was someone I gave 8 grams to for the first time, because I noticed it depends on how defensive they are. So over your life, you build this wall up so that no one can come on this side, and then any other bits of new information that contradicts the information that you've acquired, that's you sort of your army comes out and blocks it off. So mushrooms takes that wall down, and it allows you to be more open-minded and look at various different other bits of information or possibilities.
Wow.
So it's scary, and a lot of people say, but aren't you going to get addicted to it? No. I'm going to say I've benched a lot on mushrooms. The most I've ever taken was 15 grams in one go by myself at home alone. But I've had mushrooms at my house so many times, in fact a lot of the time, and I just end up giving it to people to share the experience. If ever felt that I need it. In fact, mushrooms is known to be an anti-addictive, so if you're sort of addicted to tobacco, then I wouldn't say it's an anti-addictive, but it will sort of assist you to point out the reason as to why you are smoking.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Like you said, you were also into alcohol.
That's correct.
But then you're not anymore.
Yeah. Yes, I can still go out with you, and I can, if I want, if I feel like I have a glass of wine. But I can have, in fact, someone gave me a bottle of wine. It's standing at my house now for like 4 months now.
Wow.
Haven't opened it, guests open, haven't opened, never ever had the need to open it. But if I one day feel like, I feel like a glass of wine, I can do it.
Wow. You actually sort of help people in their journeys. I don't know if I heard right. Do you do it
on my spare time?
On your spare time?
So like if I meet someone, I do a lot of hiking. Most of the people I meet are via hikes. And if they say, listen, so somehow I'll just meet someone and then I'll connect with them, and they say that they're having a struggle in me, I'll invite them over, and sometimes it's for mushroom sessions, or sometimes it's just communicating. So a lot of people have a fear of venturing in psychedelics. So those I can talk through it, and at the end of the day, you can only pass on information, and the information is then up to the person to decide whether it's beneficial to them or not.
Wow. So you hike. Meaning you go out there and connect with nature.
I connect.
How important that is?
It's like I kept to hiking because when I was first going through all my challenges here, I saw every mountain as a representation of one of my challenges. So I would view that mountain as a representation of something that I was going through. And when I made it to the top, even if it was challenging, some of it was really challenging, and I give up once, and I made sure that I go back and I do that mountain again. But when I get to the top, it's like a representation that, listen, if I can do this, I can do this in my head. And so I still do it. I love it. It keeps me fit, and it keeps my mind healthy as well.
Nice. Wow. So we should go out there.
And take some mushrooms and go.
No, I think first we must come to you before we go out there. No, because it's scary. It's scary.
So there are people doing these journeys, but they do it in groups. So I don't feel that it's look, it might have some benefits, but I feel that this is a private thing.
Okay.
And the idea is to limit the amount of distractions that you have available to you. So, life is distracting, and I think that's my major issue as to why we can't figure out half the things that's wrong with us. It's because life has so many distractions. So if we can limit the distractions, then we can start seeing what's happening inside.
Yeah, because now you are in this group of people, and then how are you really going to avoid noise? Because I think you said noise and
sight.
Sight.
Crying. Now you want to know, I wonder what they're crying about. I wonder what they're thinking about. And we know how mind works and how mind drifts.
Yeah. So you need a private place.
Yes. So I only do, like, when I meet those people, some of them says, can I bring my partner? And I'd be like, no, I only do one-on-ones. And I don't charge. So it's like you can get your own mushrooms and you can come to me and I can facilitate it. There is an exchange of energy. So I usually say, look, you can bring a chocolate or sweet or whatever it is, whatever you want to give me. It's like there has to be an exchange of energy.
Okay.
So otherwise, our mind sees it like if it's free, then it's not going to work. So that's the reason why there's an exchange.
Okay. Or just something.
Yes.
Okay.
But I say, listen, you can give me anything. You can give me a sweet.
You can give me a hug.
You can give me so it has to be something that you're giving me.
Okay.
So it's like you have to physically give me something. Yes, a hug is great. So I always, when that comes, I always end up giving a hug.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's so sweet. Okay. I guess people know, and they will know where to find you, definitely. I think you actually wrote that you are a psychologist.
I studied psychology. So I look a lot of food psychology. I don't agree with the methods because, they're using a table to sort of say, this is wrong with you, this is wrong with you, this is wrong with you. Every one of us, when I remember we sat in psychology, it was abnormal psychology. And the whole class was like, their points as to things that they could relate to. Because within all of us, we're reacting to something from the past, and it can be represented as one of those disorders. But I feel that, there's nothing wrong with us. It's just that we're reacting to something from the trauma from the past or something.
Yeah.
And because of lack of commitment to attend to it, we are now sitting with the issues of anxiety and depression and so forth.
I mean, I don't know if I should ask this because I am on Instagram or like on social media. I usually see, there's this, if I can call it a sickness, or I don't know, people diagnose themselves. I have this, that's why I am like this. How is that? How do we get ourselves, or get there actually, where we just diagnose ourselves and make it okay for people to know, or to actually, I don't know how to put this thing, because it's like I can't really go there and say I have an ADHD and then expect people to react in this way and then.
It's so funny that I was just thinking about that right now. So now I've noticed that on, like you said, on social media, so I used to go on social media like TikTok or Facebook, more Facebook, but I noticed just like I view, so it's sort of becoming like, it's acceptable because I have this, so my behavior is acceptable because I have that. No, it's like your behavior, I feel it's like from, again, an experience that was from younger, or lack of management within you, how you said ADHD. So I notice now there's a lot of ADHD people, it's like this, and because they say that, it's like, oh no, it's okay because I'm part of that, so it becomes okay. But now you making it okay. Yes, now you're aware. You should be like, okay, I'm aware that this is something that I need to attend to. It's something that's wrong, so I need to attend to it and then commit to it. So if you have a lack of attention, first of all, TikTok is adding to that with those 30-second videos that you're looking up the whole time. So that's shortening your attention span.
Yeah.
So then just like start focusing on using focusing. So it's like, say, okay, I'm going to focus on, for example, reading, and every time your mind drifts, the same like meditation practice, just keep on going back there and keep on taking it back there, and over a period of time and consistency, you'll notice that your attention will start to increase. I'll tell you a super fascinating story with my son. So he came to me one day and he said, Dad, the teacher said I need glasses, so she starts putting me in the front now so that I can see the board clearly. So I said, okay, my boy, I'll take you to, so I took him to Specsavers, got him a pair of spectacles, and then he wanted to wear it in the car. So I said, let's do this, let's not wear it in the car, you wear it only at school. So then I started showing him car number plates. Every single time we drove, I would point out a number plate and I'd go further and further and further. So I was exercising his eyes. So after a while, he could see far without using the glasses.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I know he's a small boy, obviously, but when it comes to us, I think we are where we just accept anything.
That's correct.
Okay, you say I have this, it's fine.
Yes.
Then I'll make it as an excuse for people to,
Yes.
And
also we're looking for acceptance. So like there's a group of people that have depression, for example. It's like some people will say because they're afraid of going to do the work or lack the commitment to do the work, they'll say, I'm part of this group, so they want to be part of that group. So I found that and there's a lot of people that I worked with, but I found that a lot of people were just looking for someone that they can go to and say, wave your wand and fix me. And every single person that came to my house, I always tell them, I'm like, firstly, I can't fix you, I can't heal you, I can't do anything like that. This is all your journey and it's your responsibility to do it. So I can point you in the direction and you can go and do the work. But there are some people that they just, it's like taking a pill, like you said earlier, of taking a Finado to kill the pain.
So they come to you and think you're going to do that.
Yeah,
oh,
it's
wow.
one session. And I said, no, it's like even from one session afterwards, it is a lot of work. So, like, I mean, I was sitting and, like, if you, I don't know if you say your age or anything, but if you say, for example, 20 years, then you probably have about 15 years of memories that you need to go through. And
I'm 28.
28 years, so you will have maybe about 25 years or so, depending on how far you can remember up till, I mean, my first memory that I can remember is probably about 3 years old or something, and I can remember it vividly, like as things that was happening.
Yeah, imagine me going back to the 3-year-old me. That's why I said this is work.
Yeah.
This is real. This is a real one.
It's work. It's so important. Like, you know, we all want to grow and expand. And if you want to grow and expand, we need to start with the most valuable aspect in our life, and that's ourselves.
Wow. And it's not about the millions that we want, or I just want to have this and that. No.
Your life is waiting for you, basically. That's the easy way.
Oh, wow. My life is waiting for me.
Yes.
Guys, your life is waiting for you.
That's right.
Wow. Okay, so where can people get your book?
So look, my book is selling on Amazon. I had to find some platform for it to sell for. The idea of writing the book wasn't to sell the book, it was to pass that for free. So they're more than welcome to connect with me on Facebook, Devan Pather, and then I can just send them a copy of the book, or
wow, for free.
For free.
Oh.
I don't want to sell it. I want to share the information.
Yeah. I mean, they have to get it.
When I was like going through the depression and stuff, I felt like I was in this dark hole. And every time when I went out going to go find someone that can help me, everyone just asked me for money, and no one, it didn't seem like the intention was to help me, it was more for the money.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, when I figure out how to get out of this hole and figure out why I was in the hole, I'm going to share the information for free.
Wow.
Because I feel that, like, as humans, we're supposed to help each other, not like take advantage of each other.
Yeah. Wow. You are actually tapping on something now, because the lady that was here, she was like, the gift of prophecy is for reals.
Yes.
You know, many people have that, and others can see that, okay, you know what, something's going to happen to you tomorrow. Please don't go to A and B and C. But they won't say that up until you give the money. For me to give you or tell you what's going to happen to you, give me money, of which a lot of things, a lot of problems that be flooding some way would have been stopped if you're like, no, it's going to be too much floods. Please be away, people must be safe, and you know, because those gifts, we have them, but we don't want to share them because we want to put a price.
Yes, and it's so important. It's like walking past the river, and then you see someone drown, and you see, oh, here's a little life jacket, and say, no, listen, what can I get before I throw you this? I could never do that. I feel like, you know, as humans, we're supposed to not compete with each other. We're supposed to be saying, how can I help you grow? If I'm growing, how can I help you grow?
Yeah. Wow. I think I'm satisfied.
I'm happy.
I'm satisfied. I think, you know, the viewers will be definitely, you know, before they will get everything that they need. But especially the book, it's for free, guys, and it's amazing. I've read it twice.
Thank you so much.
Well, I don't know if you want to add something.
I think look, also, like, you know, if they do connect with me on Facebook, I'm like this. I get a lot of messages and things, as you can imagine, because I do this with everyone. So if they do read the book and they feel that, you know, there's things that they have questions about, they're more than welcome to contact me. I always make time to respond to every single person.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Pather.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for
having
coming.
me.
Oh, man.